È una puntata un po' speciale, questa nuova puntata di Wilson. In primo luogo perché in questi giorni questo podcast compie un anno. Da un anno ogni giovedì cerchiamo di fare insieme una cosa che sta diventando sempre più difficile, e cioè approfondire. Prendiamo un tema, una storia, una questione e cerchiamo di capirla fino in fondo. E poi è una puntata un po' speciale perché l'ospite di questa puntata di Wilson è un ospite di importanza e fama globale, e cioè il senatore statunitense Bernie Sanders, che ho intervistato qualche giorno fa al Salone Internazionale del Libro di Torino. Questa frase, detta così, suona già un po' strana. Bernie Sanders al Salone del Libro di Torino, ma non è strana se avete frequentato un po' il salone e conoscete la rilevanza internazionale di questo evento, la generosità degli editori che partecipano e l'abilità delle persone che lo organizzano. Bernie Sanders è una delle figure politiche più importanti e riconoscibili degli ultimi tempi. Senatore eletto in Vermont formalmente come indipendente, ma di fatto parte del Partito Democratico con cui fa gruppo al Senato, per cui si è candidato 2 volte alle presidenziali, per cui parla regolarmente alle convention di partito, Sanders nel giro di un decennio è diventato il punto di riferimento della sinistra americana e anche uno dei più importanti punti di riferimento della sinistra mondiale. Una delle pochissime persone di quell'area politica che sia riuscita in questo decennio a espandere i propri consensi, a imporre temi e visioni del mondo invece che subire quelli degli altri. Sanders era a Torino per presentare un suo nuovo libro, Contro l'oligarchia, uscito in Italia per la casa editrice Chiare Lettere, che è un manifesto politico, è una chiamata alla mobilitazione. Le tesi di Sanders le ascolterete tra poco, a Torino le ha raccontate al pubblico anche con un breve discorso che ha tenuto prima che cominciasse la nostra intervista. Un'intervista che ha dentro molte cose, non solo su Trump e sugli Stati Uniti, ma anche sui super ricchi, sul rapporto tra ricchezza, lavoro e potere. C'è una parte molto lunga sull'AI a cui Sanders teneva particolarmente. Vi consiglio di ascoltare questa intervista col solito spirito con cui suggerisco di ascoltare questo podcast, e cioè non come un podcast che dà la linea, non come un podcast che si può ascoltare solo se si condivide ogni parola di quello che ascolti, al contrario come un podcast che cerca di capire le cose ascoltando punti di vista interessanti, punti di vista stimolanti. Ci sono dei passaggi in cui Sanders, lo sentirete, tenderà a farla molto semplice? Certo. Ci sono un po' di domande mie a cui Sanders non ha risposto e ha svicolato? Certo. Ma ascolterete un punto di vista molto definito sulle cose dei nostri tempi che può aiutarci come minimo a non fare un errore che abbiamo fatto più volte di recente, e cioè schiacciare tutto il racconto, l'immagine, le idee, la visione che attribuiamo agli Stati Uniti, una nazione grandissima, diversissima, vastissima, al solo Donald Trump. Sentiamola quindi la registrazione di questa intervista di sabato scorso al Salone del Libro di Torino, che ringrazio moltissimo ancora una volta. Avete presente quel bel romanzo che si intitolava La versione di Barney? Ecco, questa è la versione di Bernie.
Beh, buonasera. Buonasera, grazie mille a voi per essere qui, grazie al senatore Bernie Sanders, grazie a Paolo Noseda che ci permetterà di conversare traducendo la nostra conversazione. I temi li ha posti sul tavolo evidentemente il senatore. Parleremo di questo, parleremo di tantissime altre cose, parleremo del libro in cui Bernie Sanders ha raccontato questi temi e queste battaglie e che cosa sta succedendo in America nell'opposizione negli ultimi anni. Voglio soltanto ringraziarla un'altra volta a nome di tutti noi, di tutte le persone che lavorano al Salone del Libro, per essere qui. Ma la prima domanda ha proprio a che fare con questo. Il Salone del Libro è la più grande fiera sui libri in Europa, la più partecipata. Torino è una città meravigliosa, ma lei non è venuto qui in vacanza, lei è venuto qui, riparte subito, è venuto qui perché? Scusi se le sembra una domanda ingenua, ma perché tutto questo riguarda anche noi? Perché dobbiamo ricordarci che l'alleanza tra l'Italia, l'Europa e gli Stati Uniti non è necessariamente morta con Donald Trump?
Well, for two reasons at least. One is I want everybody in Italy and throughout Europe to understand that Donald Trump does not speak for the vast majority of the people of our country in terms of his views on Europe. Second of all, this issue of oligarchy, this issue of the unbelievable wealth and power that a small number of people have in the United States, in Europe, and throughout the world is an issue that we must address if we believe in democracy and if we believe in social justice. And I think this is an issue for a variety of reasons, that it does not get the attention that it deserves. It's not going to get the attention that it deserves in the corporate media and with many politicians, in a sense, owned by the oligarchs. They certainly are not going to talk about it.
Vorrei chiederle di aiutarci a capire come siamo arrivati a questo punto, perché nella storia degli Stati Uniti i ricchi e i super ricchi ci sono sempre stati, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, eppure ci sono delle differenze tra quei super ricchi e gli attuali super ricchi. Il dato che lei citava su come la loro ricchezza sia raddoppiata nel corso di 6 anni, mentre l'economia americana e l'economia globale non è certo cresciuta delle stesse dimensioni, ci dice che a un certo punto è cambiato qualcosa. Che cosa è successo?
For a start, let's understand that the income and wealth inequality that existed during what we call in the United States the Gilded Age, the age of Rockefeller and Carnegie, and all of those people, it was quite terrible. What we have now is much, much more extreme. The second reason, I think, is that in the United States, tragically, we have a very corrupt campaign finance system. And as I mentioned, that means, if you can believe it, that the very rich can spend as much money as they want on campaigns. So if you are a candidate and you are there standing up representing the working class, wanting the rich to pay their fair share of taxes, wanting to build housing rather than give tax breaks or other benefits to the very rich, millions and millions of dollars will be spent against you. So that political reality of a corrupt campaign finance system over the years and the dependency of politicians on people who have money has taken the Democratic Party, which once in the United States was considered to be the party of the working class under President Roosevelt, President Truman, President Kennedy, but over the years, it became a party less willing to stand up for working people. And the Republican Party, obviously, in the last few years, has gone from what I would call a center-right party to, under Trump, a right-wing extremist party. But the bottom line is, people on top have unlimited amounts of money, they want unlimited amounts of power, and they are prepared to buy the political system in order to achieve those goals.
Un'altra grande differenza rispetto ai grandi ricchi del passato è che, per esempio, la famiglia che negli Stati Uniti ha fondato la catena di supermercati Walmart è certo diventata ricchissima, ma nel diventare ricchissima ha creato milioni di posti di lavoro e ha aperto migliaia e migliaia di supermercati, ha messo parte almeno di quella ricchezza nell'economia. Le ricchezze che si costruiscono attorno ai prodotti digitali invece richiedono molta meno distribuzione, molti meno posti di lavoro da creare, e l'intelligenza artificiale promette di essere un ulteriore passo in quella direzione. Aziende sempre più ricche che hanno bisogno di sempre meno persone, che quindi creano anche sempre meno lavoro. Qualcuno anche a sinistra pensa che l'intelligenza artificiale possa portarci a liberarci dal lavoro, a liberarci dalla fatica, dal peso che ha il lavoro nella nostra vita, ma ci sono invece prospettive molto più fosche sull'impatto che può avere l'intelligenza artificiale sulle nostre vite. Lei come la pensa?
I'm going to try to be briefer in my response, in fairness to
Paolo is great.
No problem.
Don't worry.
It's scary to hear how long I went on when I see it translated. Two points that I want to get into artificial intelligence in a moment, because I am not sure that people are fully aware of the incredible transformational changes that it is likely to bring. But before I get there, it is of course true that capitalists have always wanted to make as much money as possible. Nothing new about that. And it is true that capitalists have always tried to break trade unions, exploit workers. Nothing new about that. But we do have in this breed of big tech oligarchs something very different. They are a very strange group of people who in many ways believe what 19th century monarchs believed here in Europe. Literally, that because they are so smart and they are so successful and they are developing this new extraordinary technology, that they have the right to rule. And some of them are pretty open about saying, we don't believe in democracy, all right? You can't touch us. And one of the reasons, by the way, I think you're seeing Trump and his friends' hatred toward Europe is Europe has a different political foundation, which believes that government should represent people in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, and in terms of regulating AI. And that is something that these oligarchs find very, very distasteful. Let me say a word about artificial intelligence, because I think people around the world are not fully aware of the potential it has for creating an unprecedented transformation of society in a very short period of time. There are some very smart people who are telling us that the artificial intelligence transformation will have 100 times the impact that the Industrial Revolution had. The Industrial Revolution, people going from farms to factories, took a certain period of time. What AI will do in transforming society will take a much shorter period of time. When we talk about artificial intelligence and robotics, we've got to look at a number of factors. First of all, who owns and is pushing this technology? And the answer is a relatively small number of the wealthiest people on Earth. Elon Musk is investing hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in AI and robots. Jeff Bezos has announced that he wants to create a fund of $100 billion to automate factories in the United States and around the world. Larry Ellison investing hundreds of billions of dollars into AI and robotics. Mark Zuckerberg doing the same. So first of all, the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, do we trust and have confidence that these, the wealthiest people on earth, care at all about the impact of AI and robotics on working class people in America and around the world. The second point that I want to make is the impact that AI and robotics will have on the American economy, the Italian economy, and on jobs and the lives of working class people all over the world. Now, Elon Musk lies a lot, and he is a showman, and I don't like him, and I don't trust him. But Elon Musk is not a stupid guy, and he talks about literally AI and robotics ending work, that AI and robots will be able to do anything that you can do better. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in 10 years, maybe in 20 years. And there are serious economists in the United States who worry about the end of manufacturing jobs in America and around the world. The robots which are developing, being more and more capable every day, can replace millions of jobs in factories and warehouses. Right now in the United States, young people who are graduating college are finding it harder and harder to get what we call entry-level jobs into companies, because companies are moving aggressively into AI. And there are concerns that entire professions, like accounting and the legal profession and others, many others, will be significantly impacted by AI and robotics, and that tens of millions of people will lose their jobs. And I will tell you that certainly in the United States, we are not prepared to deal with that right now. I want to apologize for going on so long on this issue, but it is an issue that I've gotten drawn into in the Congress, and I worry about very much. I just want to say, if it's okay, just a few more words on this. The other aspect about AI is that it has the capability of drawing information about every person in this room from all aspects of their lives. It has the potential to know every telephone call that you made, every product that you purchased, every website that you visited. It has the potential in many respects with all of that personal information to undermine the democratic form of government. And then on top of that, what we see in the United States, and I don't know to what degree it happens here in Europe, we're seeing many of our young people not only doing their schoolwork with AI, but more significantly developing literally emotional relationships with AI bots. And we had an extreme case just last week where a mother of a young man who committed suicide talked about how he got drawn into a quote-unquote relationship with a bot, and that suicide was a way that he could eternally be with his bot partner. And if I haven't depressed you enough right now, let me mention one other fact and then we'll get off the subject. I have talked to a number of scientists and very knowledgeable people who helped develop AI. And there are many of them, not all, but many of them who worry that if and when AI becomes smarter than human beings, that it has the potential to break away from human control. And that is not just science fiction, that is a real fear that many serious scientists have. And they worry very much about the catastrophic impact upon humanity that could occur if AI breaks away from human control. Bottom line, AI and robotics has got to be controlled. It has got to work for the betterment of all humanity, not make a handful of billionaires even richer. That's it.
Tutto questo ci porta inevitabilmente a parlare di politica, perché poi è la politica che ha il potere, per esempio, di regolare l'AI, ma non la politica in generale, in particolare la politica statunitense. Oggi parliamo in gran parte di aziende americane e le racconto che noi seguiamo le elezioni americane forse persino con più attenzione a volte delle elezioni italiane, provando anche una certa frustrazione per non poter votare, ma sapere che dal risultato di queste elezioni dipende in parte anche la nostra vita. Oggi la depressione che citava è accentuata dal fatto che l'attuale presidente americano non sembra avere nessuna di queste preoccupazioni. Ma quel presidente è stato eletto e ha vinto un'elezione contro il Partito Democratico, il partito di cui fa parte. Le rivolgo una domanda che, in quanto sedicente esperto di cose americane, è stata posta a me molto spesso in questi anni, e io, avendo la fortuna di avere lei, la faccio a lei. Cosa hanno sbagliato i democratici nel 2024 perché si arrivasse alla vittoria di Trump?
What we are now trying to do in the United States as a progressive movement are two things. Number one, we are doing everything that we can to defeat Trumpism in all of its aspects, its authoritarianism, its kleptocracy, its constant lies, its attacks against the working class of our country. It's working with the oligarchs and doing what they want to see happen. So as progressives, that is what we're doing. But the second war that we are waging is to reform the Democratic Party and make it become a party of the working class of America and not just corporate interests. And in that regard, we are making some very successful efforts. Working together, we helped elect a number of months ago Zohran Mamdani as mayor of New York City. And the lesson that should be learned from Mamdani's campaign, and it should be learned all over the world, because I think everybody can learn from it, is he took on the Democratic establishment, he took on the Republican establishment, he took on the President of the United States, and he took on the oligarchs of New York City. But what he did is develop an unbelievable grassroots campaign of 100,000 volunteers knocking on doors throughout New York City. But it's not the lesson to be learned from Mamdani is that if working class people come together, all the money in the world cannot stop us. But it is not just Mamdani in New York City. We recently won an election where a labor organizer, an old friend of mine, community organizer, did the same thing as Mamdani, developed a strong network. She is now a congressman from New Jersey. Just a few weeks ago, in the state of Maine, a small rural state near Vermont, a gentleman named Graham Platt, who was run from the outside, an outside running on a strong progressive platform, forced the establishment candidate to withdraw from the election. We just won a very important primary in Ohio. In California, there is on their ballot for November a tax on billionaires. The establishment hates it, but polling shows that it is winning by strong numbers at this point. Point is that all over the country, we are making progress in electing progressives who are taking on the oligarchs, who are standing with the working class. Many of our candidates are strong union people themselves. So I'm looking forward to, in November, seeing a number of progressives get elected to the Senate, to the House. With a little bit of luck, nobody knows, we can take back control over the House, maybe even win the Senate and put the brakes on Trump's horrific policies.
Vorrei restare sul tema di come fare a cambiare le cose, come fare a vincere anche, perché lei ci ha disegnato un quadro effettivamente deprimente, ma più che deprimente, preoccupante. Nella politica americana moderna si parla di fascisti, di fascismo, è una parola che ha utilizzato anche lo stesso Zoran Mandani che citava poco fa. E quando ci sono i fascisti alle porte, chi non è fascista deve unirsi e respingere una minaccia così grave, superando anche alcune differenze, decidendo che su alcune cose si fanno dei compromessi. È la storia della resistenza italiana, per esempio, che è stata compiuta dai comunisti, dai socialisti, dai democristiani, dai cattolici. Ora, è vero che alcune proposte della sua corrente sono molto popolari, per esempio quelle sulle tasse, sulla scuola, sulla sanità, ma altre non lo sono, sull'immigrazione per esempio non lo sono, e anche su altre questioni. Mamdani è molto popolare, ma i democratici non hanno il problema di come vincere a New York. E allora, dovendo vincere in un paese grande e diverso come l'America, lei è stato un sindaco a lungo, è un parlamentare, viene da uno stato rurale, ha avuto delle posizioni anche più moderate di quelle odierne sulle armi o sull'immigrazione. Su cosa i democratici e su cosa la sua corrente è disposta a fare qualche compromesso pur di unirsi con chi la pensa magari un po' diversamente e vincere le elezioni?
Just a few points. One, the views of the American people, in my opinion, are much more progressive than many people perceive. The American people are deeply concerned about the growing income and wealth inequality, are deeply concerned about the impact that AI can have on their lives. And in terms of foreign policy, what has happened over the last several years, after the horrible and horrific situation in Gaza, we have been leading the effort to say that the United States should not be providing another nickel to Netanyahu's government. And when we began that effort in the US Senate, we had 11 votes. And then we went up to, I think, 27 votes. And just last month, we managed to get 40 votes. And I think we are not far away from getting a majority of the votes, because the American people understand that what happened in Gaza, the starvation, the genocide, is not something that the United States can be complicit with. Deep concerns about Trump's working with Netanyahu to start the war in Iran. Deep concerns about what's going on the West Bank right now. And deep concerns about Israeli policies in Lebanon, which look more and more like a repeat of Gaza. So we're making some progress in saying that US tax dollars should never be complicit in that type of destruction. Furthermore, in terms of working together, what we have right now is kind of a split within the Democratic Party. All of us, and I am an independent who caucuses with the Democrats, all of us are united in understand that it is absolutely imperative we do everything we can to defeat Trump and to defeat the Republicans. And what has upset me very much, to be honest with you, is that I know a lot of Republicans in the Senate. They are not fascists. Many of them are not. Some of them may be. But what has happened is over the years there has been a fear of Trump so that they are afraid to stand up to what amounts to a cult of the individual, almost a Stalinist type situation. And I would hope that some of my Republican colleagues have the courage, in fact, to stand up for democracy against authoritarianism, for truth against the lies that are coming from Trump. But right now, we are taking on the Democratic establishment in state after state. We hope to elect progressives. But at the same time, we are working together to defeat Republicans and defeat Trumpism.
Siamo in chiusura, quindi vorrei chiederle due battute brevi. Uno, lei prima citava Gaza, i crimini di guerra, i massacri, la guerra in Iran è un periodo di crisi violente che diventano guerre, che diventano morti. Una di queste guerre si combatte sul territorio europeo e una delle prime cose che ha fatto Trump quando si è insediato nel suo secondo mandato è stato azzerare il contributo finanziario che era stato stanziato fin lì dall'amministrazione Biden, dal Congresso, a sostegno dell'Ucraina e della resistenza ucraina, anche i contributi in termini di armi per permettere agli ucraini di difendersi. E questa è una questione che divide molto anche la sinistra. Cosa dovrebbero fare secondo lei gli Stati Uniti? Ripristinare i finanziamenti, il sostegno, le armi per la resistenza ucraina?
Okay. On a personal level, what was extremely depressing to me was the war is now 4 years old in Ukraine, yeah? And I remember before it, I was talking to some very high-level military people in the United States, intelligence people, about it. It is so depressing to think that after the world has come together, Europe has come together since World War II, certainly not perfect, but to understand that it is insane for countries to continue to go to war against each other. And that Putin, on a given day, thought that he had the right to bring his military to invade Ukraine. And the destruction that is taking place there is horrific. What is not talked about terribly often is, do you know how many people, how many young Russian soldiers have been killed? Hundreds of thousands. An entire generation of young Russians. And it speaks to authoritarianism that the Russian people themselves have not stood up as vigorously as they should. And I know it's hard in an authoritarian society to tell this person not only not to destroy Ukraine, but to destroy his own younger generation. But in terms of U.S. aid, in my personal feeling, Trump is an authoritarian type. He likes fellow authoritarians like Putin. He would like the United States Congress to become something like a Duma. But what I do want to say is Democrats, I don't think, are divided on this issue. The Democrats, I think the entire caucus, I may be mistaken, supports increased funding for Ukraine to defend itself. I think there are splits in the Republican Party. But I think what Putin has done by that terrible act that undid in many ways all of the success of Europe in trying to prevent wars is it gave a green light to Netanyahu to do his terrible things in Gaza and gave a green light for Trump to decide that he wants to start wars unilaterally as well. And unless we stop that type of behavior from people like Putin and Netanyahu and Trump, This world is going to be plunged into international anarchy, where any nation thinks for any reason that it has a right to attack another nation. And we have got to make sure that we put an end to that we strengthen international law, that differences are negotiated at a table, not through bullets.
Non le chiedo se ha intenzione di candidarsi di nuovo, anche se sarebbe bello se ci desse una notizia qui a Torino. Le chiedo se ci sarà un candidato o una candidata progressista, secondo lei, nel 2028.
So you think I should announce my candidacy right here? This is the place to do it, right?
We'll be very happy.
I'm going to disappoint you on that. But this is what I will say tonight, and I want to thank Francesco for his questions. We have discussed some very difficult issues. We discussed the horrors of war, Ukraine, Iran, Gaza. Talked about the fears that we have on artificial intelligence. We didn't even get into the deep concerns that many of us have regarding climate change, etc. But I do want to leave you with my feeling that I personally, in the United States, am not pessimistic. What all of you should know is that the people in the United States are seeing through the lies of Donald Trump. His poll numbers now are going down and down and down. Just a couple of months ago, we had what we call No Kings demonstration. I don't know how familiar you are. Okay. Eight million people came out on one day, the largest day of demonstrations in the history of the United States. All right. So what I think, and as I mentioned earlier, the progressive movement is growing. We hope to win some very significant victories in the coming election, which can transform the Congress and the U.S. Senate and state legislatures all across this country. To me, the bottom line is you have a small number of people with incredible wealth, incredible power, who are very, very greedy and dangerous people. And what they want is not what ordinary people in the United States, Italy, or any place else in the world want. And in these very difficult and dangerous moments, we have got to go out, what we call in the United States, our zone of comfort. We've got to become involved politically in ways that we have never done before. So let us stand together in Italy, in the United States, and all over this world, and create a planet in which all of our people, and this is not utopian thinking, it can be done. Children do not have to starve. People do not have to be homeless. We can create a politics and economies so that all people on this planet have a decent standard of living, and where we do not see a handful of people with incredible wealth and power. We can do better, we must do better, and together we will do better. Thank you very much.
Non ve ne andate. Senator Sanders, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dunque, io devo ringraziare ancora una volta il Salone Internazionale del Libro di Torino, che ci ha permesso di riprodurre questa intervista dentro la puntata di oggi di Wilson, la casa editrice Chiare Lettere del libro, che vi ricordo, Contro l'oligarchia, E poi un ringraziamento va a voi che seguite questo podcast da un anno e quindi siccome è il compleanno di Wilson, siccome questa puntata è un po' speciale, questa puntata eccezionalmente può essere ascoltata anche dalle persone che non hanno un abbonamento al Post. Di solito qui vi dico, se questa puntata l'avete trovata interessante potete regalarla a qualcuno che non è abbonato, questa è proprio aperta a tutti e a tutte. La trovate sull'app del Post in versione italiana e inglese, la trovate in versione video anche su YouTube. Se poi le cose che facciamo vi sembrano interessanti, utili, preziose, c'è solo una cosa da fare per sostenerle, e cioè abbonarvi al Post all'indirizzo abbonati.ilpost.it. Io vi ringrazio e vi do appuntamento alla settimana prossima. A presto, ciao!